Hello and welcome to Movie Mayhem. Today we finally have another installment in the Bruno Mattei director series. This is 2002's Venetian Caprice. I did jump a bit of the 80s. Again, a lot of the 80s ones are pretty cool. At least I really enjoy them, so don't worry, we'll get back to that. This happened to be one I checked out. This is... You know, he directed this under the pseudonym of Vincent Dawn, which is also kind of weird. You're like, okay, the same guy who did this movie, you know, did Shocking Dark and you know, and Strike Commando, really? I find it amazing that Mattei was still getting work in the 2000s, where very few Italian directors were. Most of them were doing TV stuff, you know, here and there, but he was still cranking out movies. This is part of a slew of movies that he did that were in that Skinamax, like hard R erotica vein. And now there's 4 of them I know that were never released anywhere. But this was one of the ones that was. Funny enough, there's a version out of Italy, which I believe is dubbed in Italian. The only version that has English, there's a Russian DVD that actually has English on it. Again, it's all overdubbed anyway, but that would be the only version really you can get with English on there. So what about this movie? It's a story of a girl who takes a new job in Venice as a teacher, and she meets this dude who's an artist and introduces her to the lusty side of life. Think Eyes Wide Shut with 1/1,000,000th the budget. I don't know. Again, like some of it just it's weird in the Mattei sense too. There's some good scene shots. A lot of this looks like pickup stuff. This would basically be high budget porn outside of the sex. But like she's just walking around on the streets of Venice, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere in an alley, there's a girl there, and a guy comes up and rips off her clothes, and they have sex in the alley, and water from some kind of like drainage pipe is on them. There's a lot of drain pipes with water in this movie, in the sex scenes. I'm guessing it's supposed to be clean water. It just seems weird. Like, why are there so many drain pipes where they want to have sex on the street? I mean, there's some cool erotic scenes, I guess. I think Mattei does a good job at that. You know, and it's soft erotica, but does a good job of making it interesting. The biggest problem I had was there was no chemistry between the two leads, the girl and the guy. He felt very much like he came off more like a pimp. Like he just didn't care, like, whatever, I can replace you. And in a way, I could see the aloofness working in the story because she's supposed to be a good girl, and he's introducing her to the seedy, lustful side of life and showing her like sex clubs, and it's, you know, her sexual awakening, as it were. But again, he just comes off so sleazy. It's a little tough. The actress is fine. She doesn't come... I think she could have come off as more resistant, and it would have been more erotic in that context. Again, these type of movies, if you watch old Cinemax, that's really what it is. It's sex scene, then like a cut to a tour vlog, because they're just kind of walking around Venice doing things. And it looks like it was filmed in the 90s, for sure. I actually... The only reason I mean, I know it came out in 2002, but they were actually using euros in the film. So it had to, you know, it couldn't have been much before that. So it's definitely cheap, on the cheap, even for Mattei. But the music, oh my God, the music is so bad. The music, either it's you know, free source classical, or this just god awful music. I don't know where they got it. I mean, this is stuff that puts your average porn music, it makes it look good. It's really annoying because the music doesn't usually fit the scene. It's just kind of there. You're like, all right, why is there music playing now? Why is it so loud? There is really no development of the other characters. They kind of just exist. So there's not a whole lot to say in the movie other than it is interesting. I think it's kind of cool to see Mattei do this type of film. I think as a as a silk stockings type of thing. It's pretty cool. I would have liked to, he does in the sex scenes. He does very much that silk stockings thing where there's some very mood lighting and very cool, and the accent is on that. So if you watch it for the erotic scenes, it works. I think that's pretty cool to see Mattei do that type of work. And I commend him for being able to do that. The connecting story is very weak at best, not very interesting. It's honestly a lot like Bad Love 2 or Mad Love 2, which I don't think I reviewed, but I've seen it. It's a lot like that. And the other one he did, Bella More, whatever that was. They're all kind of the same, but the sex scenes make it interesting from a visual perspective. I think there's some cool lighting and some nice camera work done there, and he does a very solid job of presenting that eroticism. As far as the story, of course, you're going to find a million movies that do it better, much like most of Mattei's films, but they're still interesting in their own right. So I'm curious if anyone else has seen this movie. And what's the next Mattei you want me to get to? Also curious who's bothered to trudge through all the Mattei ones I've reviewed so far, if you've seen any of them, because trust me, it's an effort getting through some of those movies. But anyway, make sure you like, subscribe, and check us out on Patreon.